Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Holly Hamilton here at the Turks and Caicos Islands Airports Authority, coming to you with the final tropical weather briefing for this 2024 North Atlantic hurricane season. Um, and this is actually the National Day of Thanksgiving here in Turks and Caicos. And so, how fitting it is as we reflect over the hurricane season, and we're thankful, Turks and Caicos, for going through yet again another hurricane season without having significantly being impacted by these catastrophic and destructive systems, as we know, in the North Atlantic. And as we give thanks, we also keep other countries within the region, such as Grenada, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, and the United States of America, in our thoughts and prayers, as we know they suffered significant damages and are in the process of restoring and rebuilding due to some notable systems this year. So, with that, let's get right into it. So looking first at our surface analysis, as always, we see a high pressure system dominating most of the North Atlantic. And then we bring it closer to home. These dashed lines here represent what is called a surface trough. And we see one across the Turks and Caicos Islands and another one across the central Bahamas. And then we also see this cold front stretching and extending across the state of Florida, and that's moving off of there very slowly. And take note of that because we'll talk more about that. That's going to impact our weather going into next week or going into the week coming. So, looking at our satellite imagery, we see not much going on here in that North Atlantic under the influence of that high pressure. And then you see still quite a bit of cloudiness over the Turks and Caicos Islands, and some showers, could be embedded in that. But for today, just mostly a bit of cloudiness. We might get a few light passing showers through the day, but nothing significant. Um, as the surface trough will move towards the northwest, and then that cold front you see stretching across the state of Florida, and some cloud and showers associated with that. And then also here in Jamaica, there was a low pressure sitting in the southwest Caribbean, and we see some convection, thunderstorm, and shower activity associated with that over Jamaica. So, for our tropical weather outlook, 7-day tropical weather outlook, we're not expecting any tropical cyclone activity in the next 7 days. And as a reminder, tomorrow, Saturday, November 30th, marks the end of the 2024 North Atlantic hurricane season. So, just a little recap of the season. As you can see, we got through most of the names this season, from Alberto to Sarah. And as a recap, looking at the statistics for the season, we ended up having 18 total named storms. 11 of those were hurricanes, and 5 of those were major hurricanes. And if we think back to the preseason forecast that was put out by NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, um, their preseason forecast in May was looking at projecting 17 to 25 total named storms, and 8 to 13 of those becoming hurricanes, and 4 to 7 of those being major hurricanes. So we pretty much see that is what encapsulated or happened at the end of this season. So now looking at what we can expect in terms of the winds and waves for the next 5 days. So starting out with our 24-hour forecast, Saturday, November 30th, looking at the winds and looking at the features, the weather features in the area. Here's Turks and Caicos. And here's that dashed line representing that surface trough, and you see that it's moving in that northwestern direction. And here's the cold front still creeping off the coast of Florida, or creeping off of Florida. And winds will pretty much be like how it is today, pretty light and variable. Seas will be relatively calm, 2 to 4 feet. So in terms of going out and enjoying the beach, might still be a bit cloudy, but in terms of the water conditions, the seas will be relatively calm, and light winds would make it more of an enjoyable day out on the beach going into the weekend. So on Sunday, we see that cold front advances down, and it has now passed the Turks and Caicos Islands. Winds are still going to be a bit light, and seas still 2 to 4 feet. And then on Monday, that front um, it stalls and becomes somewhat stationary. So it lingers in the area here. Winds still remain light. Seas start to build a little bit with 3 to 5 feet. And will also continue to build going into the evening. So a small craft advisory, we expect a small craft advisory to come into effect on Monday evening. So as you can see, that marked distinction between the green and the blues, that front is still somewhere sitting here in the vicinity, and now winds are starting to build behind that front. So these oranges, yellows and oranges signify an increase in the winds. We're looking at 15 to 20 knots winds, and the seas continue to build up to 6 to 9 feet. So by Tuesday, we're looking at breezy to windy conditions and seas, moderate seas. So a small craft advisory will remain in effect on Tuesday. Sea conditions will be rough along the Atlantic exposures. And then finally on Wednesday, we still see breezy to windy conditions. We're looking at 20 to 25 knots by Wednesday, so it'll be quite windy, and seas at 6 to 9 feet with northeasterly swell. So that small craft advisory will stay in effect. And so that's pretty much it. Looking into the weather, or the tropical weather for the next week. And so with that, we come to a close with our final briefing of the season. And we wish you well. See you next season. And as always, you can follow the Turks and Caicos Islands National Weather Service on our various social media platforms: WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And of course, always keep that DDME alert app handy on your phone for any pertinent notifications that might arise due to imminent weather. So with that, Turks and Caicos, see you to next season.